everyone, my name is Tyler Ogle, and my informative speech will be on hydraulic fracturing and the process behind it. Uh, One of the biggest misconceptions with hydraulic fracturing is that we just don't know enough about it. Well, ignorance can be scary. The reason we say that is because a lot of times we can see through history that if we don't know something, we're awfully afraid of it. Um, Death is a good example. If we don't know about what's going to happen, we often are scared of it. Hydraulic fracturing is similar in that we just need to understand the process behind it, and then that we will see that is it really that scary? It needs some regulations, but it really doesn't need to be feared. There's three parts to hydraulic fracturing. There's the preparation of the well site, there's the vertical portion of the drill, and then there's the horizontal portion of the drill, where that's actually where the fracturing is done. In the preparation, what we're going to see is that it takes around 3 to 6 months for them to even begin drilling. They actually have to get geological surveyors out there. They have to make sure that there's no wells that they're drilling into, that the area underneath of them isn't going to cave in if they drill a hole 1.5 miles deep down into the ground. Especially in Pennsylvania with the Marcellus Shale, there are tons of regulations placed on hydraulic fracturing. So all of this permits, regulations, land rights, oil rights, all that have to be taken care of before we can even crack the surface. Water trucks, everything like that has to be brought into the site before they even start drilling, because as soon as they start drilling, they need water, lots and lots of water, to be pumped down into that hole. The vertical portion on the first one, that's how it used to be done in like the 30s and 40s. It was just called drilling. We would just drill straight down and we would just get some oil and then we would just pump it back up. But now, with just the same amount of sites drilled, if we drill horizontally afterwards, we can actually get a lot more out of just the one pipe in the whole ground. So it has less of an impact up top. So we can just put one and get the same amount as 3 or 4. The vertical portion is usually the one that scares the people the most, but actually is one of the more safe ones. All it is a well bore goes straight down into the ground, and as they're pumping that well bore down, they are also pumping mud, water, because that drill bit gets really, really hot. The vertical portion usually goes like 8,000 feet, which is around 1.5 miles long. I think ground aquifers are around 1,000 feet, is usually where your natural occurring groundwater, your wells, are usually drilled into. This portion also, they drop a cement or a steel casing down the hole first, and then they pressurize cement and they shove that down the pipe, in which that cement's between the ground and the cement pipe, and then what that does is holds the steel pipe in place, and they usually lower another one and they cement that one to the outside of the other steel casing. Like in this picture, you can see the steel casings right on the vertical portion of the drill. That's what they do. They put a steel casing, they cement case, and then they put another steel and a cement. So they try and seal off between the actual drill hole, the drill bit, and where the gas comes out, and right where that precious groundwater is. The second portion, or third portion, is actually going to be fracturing the shale, which a lot of people are often scared of. Earthquakes is a common one that people seem to be afraid of, and this occurs, like I said, around 1.5 to about 2 miles down below the surface. What actually happens is they call it a kickoff point, and that's right about where the vertical drill stops and they start throwing it horizontally. What happens is they put a small little, you can think of it as a detonation, they put a small little electric charge in there and it cracks the shale, and then it creates a gap about the size of sand. So what they do is they pump water, sand, and ethylene glycol and a whole bunch of other chemicals down in there, and all that does is it helps the gas get out easier. So the fissures that are actually in the shale are only about the width of sand. They're not gaping human holes in the earth. They're just little tiny fissures. Let's see. Disposal of wastewater, that's another issue with it. What you do with it is often construed. There are two main ways. It's either well injection sites, where they actually just dig a little hole and they just pressurize the water and shoot all the wastewater down on the ground, and then we cover it up. It's not the best option, but that is one of the options that they do. And the third option is actually water treatment, and they actually treat the water. It could be either used for drinking water, but 9 times out of 10 gets returned right back to the site, and they just push it back down into the shale. In conclusion, there was 3 parts. We had the preparation, which took about 3 to 6 months. We had the vertical portion of the drill, which takes on average around a month, month and a half. And then the horizontal and cleanup usually takes around another 2 months. So the whole process takes about a year. But after the whole drilling portion has been done, they actually just tap it off, and all the water trucks and everything go away. And then there's just like a little pipe that sticks up out of the ground, and they can tap on that for a good portion of 20 years. So that is the process of hydraulic fracturing, and I hope you all enjoyed.